So, friends, all of us are laboratory persons. And those who are from the teaching side in medical colleges and are attached to laboratories, it's something which is so cohesively connected with the individual that a person who is interested in lab management or working in the laboratory cannot disconnect himself or herself from the laboratory itself. It is so passionate. And each one of us, we strive hard to maintain higher standards of lab results. But yes, there are limitations with the available resources in terms of manpower, equipment, reagents, and so on. But at the end of the day, or at the end when the results are being given out, we all think that my lab results are good. Anybody here saying that my lab results are not good? Everybody was saying my lab results are good. So what we do, in short, we certify our own work. Oh, and my lab is good. I don't have any other standard. I am standard by myself, and that's it. So the concept of certification has to be understood. What I discussed here was the first party certification. Laboratory belongs to user who is satisfied and it's fine, and I declare my work is good. Whether it's good or not good. We have something called a second party certification, wherein I call Dr. Anita Madam is a good friend of mine, Dr. Yogesh is a good friend of mine, both being NABL assessors. Please come and visit my lab and have a look. So we'll have a cup of coffee, we can have lunch together and so on. So they will come take a round of Ingale, everything is fine. So you scratch my back, I scratch you, so everything is done. So that's typically a second level of certification. Some small tips can be given here and there. And that's the second party certification. What is actually needed is a third party certification, where the certifying or accrediting body is neither the owner nor is the user. So completely unknown person coming to you, verifying the entire processes, how you work, how you document, what all is available with you, and then they give you the report. That is a typical third party certification. And this third party certification, we term it as accreditation, wherein it is a procedure by which an authoritative body, a body which has been authorized, gives formal recognition that a body or a person is competent to carry out a specific task. That body will come, it will appoint somebody, they will come, they will examine, and they will see these persons, these equipment, these tests are authorized. And in India, these authoritative bodies, NABL. Saying NABL is very, very easy, but I know 80% of people will not be able to take full form of NABL. So it's a long, this thing, National Accreditation Board for Testing and Calibration. It deals with testing and calibration. I'll take you to a brief history of NABL. NABL, in fact, was established way back in 1982. As initially set up as an activity of Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, and they labeled it as National Coordination of Testing and Calibration Facilities. 1998, actually NABL got registered as a society. 2016, it was transferred from Department of Science and Technology to Department of Industrial Policy and Profession, and then subsequently to Quality Council of India. And now, NABL, if you see NABL, there are two roles, NABL and QCA. NABL is now merged with Quality Control. In India, the accreditation process started way back in 1981. Medical labs started with data. In 30th September 22, recent data which I could get from NABL website. As of now, 2,430 medical laboratories are accredited, and there are, I think, a couple of 300, 400, or even more than that, which are in the process of accreditation. What is the function of NABL? It's to promote development and maintenance of good practice in testing and measuring, When I say testing and measuring, it could be in any field. It is not only the medical field. To establish and maintain international recognition for its national accreditation. So I'll just give you some brief overview of NABL and then we will come to the accreditation process. NABL is a very, very transparent organization. And I specifically kept this slide because many people have, in India, many things chalta hai, or many things can be done with some other resources or something like that. This is one organization which I have seen in my life, and I'm sure the people who are into accreditation, in NABL accreditation, they will agree with me. This is one organization where there is no hidden interest. Everything is being done, everything is maintained very, very transparent. Whatever are the deficiencies that are pointed out, and it is always, it should not be a fear factor, but whenever there is an assessment, there is always a promotion or guidance which is being given to the laboratory to improve its quality services, to identify the gaps, and even to tell them how to close these gaps. So that fear for NABL has to go. It has to completely go. Accreditation go. I have an NABL assessment. Even senior persons like me also, it takes 2 days prior to NABL assessment. It never happens that. It's an organization which works very transparently and which supports you to get your laboratory in the system of accreditation. So it helps in carrying out accreditation activity in a non-discriminatory manner. There are no constraints that might influence decision making. There is no other power works for it. It maintains complete impartiality. NABL, on the other hand, does not provide any consultancy services also. Otherwise, there is conflict of interest. So they will not provide any consultancy service. It will not promote any service of any specific body also. So it is a peer representation of stakeholders in the group. Now, is it NABL is one single organization which is going to dictate the terms? And is it that the My Laboratory accreditation is limited to the country at the national level? It is a complete system which is come down. The topmost is International Laboratory Accreditation Board. That is the topmost organization on the globe, on the world, which deals with accreditation throughout the world. Now, this ILAC has zone-wise or continent-wise sub-bodies, like APLAC stands for Asia Pacific Laboratory Accreditation Corporation, European Accreditation Corporation, Inter-American Accreditation Corporation, and so on. So, as per zones, as per continent, there are various accreditation bodies. And under those accreditation bodies are the individual country or group of countries accreditation. Say, for example, NABL. NABL will directly come under Asia Pacific Laboratory Accreditation. Now, there are 2 things which this diagram will show you. Number 1, if you see the entire hierarchy, the test result which has been produced by any accredited lab in India, whether it is a rural area, urban area, or a metropolis city, whether it's a very posh laboratory, you can say, or say not a posh laboratory, but good as far as the quality is concerned. And if the lab is accredited, and there's any laboratory in the US, UK, or any part of the world, the end result between 2 labs should match. And that is, tomorrow we will all have a feeling, and how can our Indian things, there are so many problems with infrastructure, so many electrical fluctuation, this and that. How can our result be matched with the lab which is there in US or UK? But if you go through the entire standards of ISO standards, and if you maintain each and every activity as that has been defined in the standards, then there is no way by which you cannot match with the global standards. So that is the one thing that you match with the global standards. And secondly, it is not that NABL has one complete authority to whatever you want to do. No. Like the labs get accredited, NABL also gets accredited every 4 years. So every 4 years, NABL and has to undergo an audit by APLAC. And APLAC undergoes audit by ILAC. So the entire system is very, very rigid, very, very complex, and it is very, very well controlled. So 2 advantages. Number 1, the system is controlled, and second one is that you have a result. Now, does NABL deal with only medical testing laboratories? No. It has got a huge scope. It deals with testing laboratories, calibration laboratories, medical laboratories, and apart from medical laboratories now, they have also accreditation process for proficiency testing providers. All those who provide us PT samples or ICA samples. So even that accreditation is now done by NABL. Reference material producer accreditation is done by NABL. And recently NABL has also gone into radiology. All imaging can get accredited by NABL. So it's a vast scope of NABL, but we will be focusing our attention only to medical laboratories. Now, medical laboratories, earlier it was a small lab with small set of tests. Now it has come into so many disciplines of it. You have clinical biochemistry, clinical pathology, hematology, microbiology and infection disease serology, histopath, cytopath, flow, cytogenetics, molecular testing. So as of now, NABL gives accreditation in these 9 disciplines, and I don't think anything is left out. Nothing is left out. It has covered everything that has been there for medical diagnostics. Is it required? I'm doing my business is okay, I'm doing fine, I'm happy, my customers are happy. Should I do it? I think it depends on what is the type of setup, whether it's a government setup, whether a corporate setup, private setup, whether what size of lab, how much clientele you have, how many customers you have. But each one of you are working in your respective areas. Basically, my intention for this lecture is to sensitize you and make you feel that it's very easy to go for NABL accreditation and take you to the entire process, what needs to be done. And if there are problems at some time, then what care can be offered at what level. So that's my main. So before that, one actually said it involves money, it involves huge amount of money. There will be an assessment, there will be accreditation fees, assessors will come, so you have to pay for their travel, their stay and everything. So there is a cost involved. But that cost benefit ratio has to be seen. And many people, rather than cost benefit, especially in the government and corporate sector, they want those time to come on their reports that is the status symbol for the organization. So what are the general benefits of accreditation? Number one, it gives an enhanced customer confidence and satisfaction. And my lab report is from any accredited lab. That's good enough for the patient to understand that everything, all my report is absolutely fine. For the lab, it gives a robust quality management system. Each one of us, especially seniors like us, when we grow and we get involved into administration, it is only by virtue of experience over the past several years we learn what is to be done. But if you compare a person, a young child who is an MBA, and he is in the same position, he does it much better. Reason is that person is trained for administration. We are not trained for administration. We learn by our own experiences. So sometimes you have good experiences, sometimes you have bad experiences, sometimes you do a good learning, sometimes you do a bad learning. So if you learn through the entire process of ISO, then you will understand that if you start following that process, your entire laboratory automatically gets into a controlled process and all your errors automatically they will all diminish. It takes some time. It will take 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years to get completely, you can say, diffused into the entire system and get implemented. But once it's almost like an auto mode, you don't have to look into anything. Then there is a tremendous scope for continued improvement because the day-to-day problem, the day-to-day errors that you see and that you get repeated every day because you don't follow them properly. Once you start controlling them, then you reach to a level. From there, you only think of what next I should be doing. So there will be a lot of continuous. There's a better operational control. It assures the accurate and reliable results. And there's a cost reduction. As I said, at one end, I'm saying that there is a cost involved. At the other end, I'm saying there is a cost reduction. How this cost reduction will come? Because if you are not in a system, if a system is not a controlled system, you do a lot of repairs, you will do a lot of recalibrations, many of the relay kits will get wasted, many of them will get expired, your staff may not be untrained, so the staff may create his or her own problems. So All these things, when they are put together, if you see the calculation, then automatically you start up saving money. Prevent loss due to defects. You have an international recognition. There is an access to global markets. All these big laboratories, corporate laboratories now, with NABL, with CAP accreditation, what is the target? The target is to attract the international market. Then we become a ready means for customer. Oh, I want to send my samples, or there is some organization who want to do a health checkup. So which lab I should send for health checkup? So the first criteria, the lab has to be NABL accredited. So automatically there is seeding of labs which are not accredited. So you get into that. So there is a ready means of customers, increase confidence in report, accepted by, very well accepted by regulators, whether it is LIC or you can say any reimbursement. The report is from NABL accredited, the payment is released. Participating in government tenders or municipal tenders. Again, now we have in corporation has a program called as Apni Chikitsa. Our prerequisite for the type of person, the lab has to be NABL accredited, so you can participate in this. So this all gives potential into this business. Apart from that, what me as an individual, if I'm not a owner of the lab, if I'm owner of the lab, all these benefits fine. But I am not technician in the lab, I am a consultant in the lab. What is the benefit for me? It is better career prospects to accredited labs. If you are working in an accredited laboratory, because of certain reasons, you have to leave that organization, you have to move on to other organization. One simple thing, I have an experience of working for 2 years, 3 years in an accredited lab at such and such position. Your chances of getting selected in that lab are very, very high. Because it is the lab feels that I am getting a ready-made resource, I am getting the resource person who will be able to take my quality further. So now the big question. Want to get your lab in NABL? Easy? Difficult? So what questions? How should I start? Where to begin? Like we have been told to go for NAC accreditation for the medical colleges. And the same question, where to begin? Where to get the material? What is the resource material? What are the various prerequisites to get NABL accreditation? Who can guide me on this? What are the documentation requirements? How do I create my own document systems? Can anyone do this for me? So plenty of questions. And then ultimately what do you feel? Oh my God, it's like a climbing a mountain peak. So leave it, I may not be able to achieve it. That's many of you think in that way and just try to. No, it's not that. So considering all of you as a as an absolute blank slate, we want to break this shape to reach to the level of NABL. So question number one, how should I start? There are two important documents that each one of you should acquire and should read. The first one is ISO 15189-2012 standards. This is an international standard which deals with the various clauses and sub-clauses the lab should maintain. That is ISO 15189-2012 standard. It is undergoing revision. Maybe by the time you come for your next cycle in January, the new standard might get implemented. And the other document which I discussed a bit later is NABL 112. Now, from where do you get this standard if you want to get the standards? All this, your colleagues, friends who have done internal auditor training course, so they must have got some copy. So either you can photocopy that, get a soft copy. So there are, if you don't get it from anywhere, or you want to go for NABL accreditation, then it is mandatory for the lab to have original copy of ISO 15189. If you don't have original copy, it is an ACE. It's a variation. So lab should possess an original copy, and that copy is available from Bureau of Indian Standards. You can log on to Bureau of Indian Standards. The cost is not much. It is for India, it is 770 rupees, and for outside India, it is 7,700. So there is a facility for online payment, and they will mail you the document. That's the you get stuff. Now this document is very clear in 5 sub-clauses, scope, normative references, terms and definitions. First thing, I will not go in details about this, not required at this stage. what is important at this stage are the requirement, management requirement, which has been divided into 15 subclauses, 4.1 to 4.15. The technical requirement, which has been divided into 10 subclauses, 5.1 to 5.1 to 10. So the 25 subclauses are there. If any laboratory follows the 25 subclauses, by excellence, it will reach to stand of international level standard. So, Yogesh, you have covered them in audit, the clauses? No. Okay. So we just see the audit. Now, covering this 25 sub-clauses, 4.1 to 4.15 and 5.1 to 5.10, is a 3 days internal auditor's grade, which I will not be able to cover in this. But I will just give you one liner what it all speaks about. What is it? The 4.1 deals with the organization and management responsibility. Your lab has to be, there has to be a proper certification or government recognition of the authority or license or registration of the authority. The people, the management has to be supportive. The lab should be legally identified. Then comes the second one is quality management system. The quality management system, the words, 3 words, you find it's very simple thing, but it is the entire documentation and its implementation. Like you should be having a quality manual, you should be having a SOPs, PSP. How do you identify different processes and map those processes quality management system? Again, a bit difficult term to explain at this point of time. 4.3 is document control. I think Shilpa madam has covered had a detailed talk on how what document control is. 4.4 is service agreement, wherein every patient is considered to be a client, to a patient, and you have to have a service agreement. It need not be in the form of an agreement. Even the test requisition form is considered as a service agreement. 4.5 is examination of record. In case there is a problem with your lab, with your equipment, in case there are certain tests which are not done in your lab and suddenly you have to send it outside. It could be a laboratory, it could be a consultant like histopathological examination. So they become the referral services. So you have to see what type of referral service I'm going to take. Which are the labs with which I'm going to have the MOU with referral labs. How do I evaluate those referral labs? All this is covered under this clause. 4.6 deals with external services and supplies. So all you are procuring of equipments, reagents, consumables, everything. All this, when you take this, these are your, so you get it from different vendors. So you have to have a procedure how you are going to get that material. What would be your quality standards of getting it? What would be standards of accepting it, whether they are coming the right form or not? And how are you going to evaluate your vendors? Whether vendors are maintaining the cold chain, whether the vendors are maintaining sufficient stock so that lab is never in a short supply of any particular reagent. So that clause deals with services and supplies. 4.7 is advisory services. Advisory services is the role of the laboratory consultant and senior staff. Whenever it's not our job only to carry out a test and leave it. Somebody will say, okay, sir, this test has come positive. What should I do next? Which other alternative test has to be done? So all those services has to be provided to the patients or to the clients. That is covered in 4.7. 4.8 deals with resolution of complaints. In the process, each one of us receives some complaints, either directly from the patients or from the clinicians or from anyone. So there has to be a proper mechanism of addressing those complaints. Not that this time people have time it cannot go like that. Every complaint has to be taken very, very seriously. It has to be properly addressed. 4.9, 10, and 11. They deal with that word called as NC, which is all NABL accredited lab. The NC is a very, very favorite word, non-conforming. Non-conforming, nothing but deviation from normal. Whatever your document I'm going to do is like this, and if you don't do it that way, it becomes a deviation. You are going to run external quality control and your result is out, it can be a deviation. So anything deviating from your regular process is a non-conformancy. And whenever there are non-conformances, the lab should have proper corrective and preventive actions. 12 is continual improvement. 4.13 is control of records. Now there is a difference between what a document is and what a record is. I'm going to discuss it a bit later. But like Shilpa madam has discussed control of documents. Similarly, you should have a mechanism to control your records. All your records have to be properly controlled. 4.14 is evaluation and audit, and I think Dr. Yogesh has already taken the 2 sessions on audit, so I need not go in details about this. And the last one is management review. Management review is something a bird's eye view of whatever has, of all the clauses, of all 25 clauses, it's a bird's eye view, which is given to the management once in a year or twice in a year, wherein for each and every clause, the things are discussed and what needs to be done further has to be discussed. That's the management. So, what is so specific? We all call it as management review. If you see entire clause 4.1 to 4.15, there is no technical analysis, there is no report generated, there is no release of report, nothing is there. But what all is there is, apart from the actual technical analysis, there are so many things which are required to maintain a proper quality system. Unless that system is established, you will not be able to move forward. Unless you have a quality system procedure documented for, say, for example, if I were a vendor, whether my vendor is giving me services properly or not, then I have to have a procedure for vendor evaluation. Who is going to, how many times I will going to evaluate a vendor, which vendors I am going to evaluate, what should be the frequency, what are the criteria of evaluation, what are the acceptance criteria, and if he fails, what is the action to be taken. So everything has to be documented. And it has to not only document to follow. So for any laboratory, when you're doing technical processes, not good, there's a lot of admin thing which comes along with it. And I think the clause 4 management is the management responsibility of the top management, which percolates down, deals with the complete administrative and documentary control of the laboratory. Got it? So now we move to technical requirements. Technical requirements you will understand very easily because these are related to our day-to-day activities. And the clause 1 deals with 5.1 deals with the personnel. So it includes all lab staff. It includes lab staff right from the housekeeping to the lab director or to whoever person, the topmost person in the lab. So what all is described here, or what all is, we have to say for every position that we have, where there's a technologist, there's a phlebotomist, there's a data entry operator, where there's a consultant, the lab director, that should fix up. What are my qualification criteria? What is the competence expected from that? How do I select that candidate? Once I absorb that candidate, what should be the induction training given at that particular level? So there has to be different levels of induction. Induction training for a lab director consultant would be different than for housekeeping staff than for a technologist. Technologist will depend on which section of the laboratory is going to work. So all that has to be planned. Once that induction training is done, then the staff has to be periodically trained. So you have to maintain a training calendar. Once you have a training calendar, people will train, many of us will doze off, many of you will not be interested. So you have to have a competency evaluation. How much the person has understood. If the person does not do well in competency evaluation, you have to have a retraining and evaluation. So all these things are covered in personal aspects. Apart from that, personal safety is also very important. So whether the staff is vaccinated or not is also part of personal safety. So now, if you have a well-trained staff, you are given a good induction training. You are training the staff periodically. So that means your staff is now at the topmost level and there are chances of manual errors are almost minimized. What next is accommodation and environmental protection. Many of us, like especially in government setups, we don't see those things. What is my lab temperature? I'll give you a simple example which has happened with my life. We get kits in bulk. So whenever we get kits in bulk, we always run short of refrigerators. Where to keep this? And I think this is the situation unless you have a lock-in cooler, majority of the labs have this. So you try to push in. So somewhere our stock was kept. And then you don't look into because stock is going to last for a year. So whatever is there in front of you in the lab, the technician, you will see it. In one of the refrigerators, almost 150 kits which were there, That refrigerator had count of when we don't. And when the refrigerator was opened, the temperature was absolutely in the hot state. The temperature was higher than the room temperature. It was a closed compartment. And all our kids had it. So maintaining environmental conditions are very, very crucial. Your refrigerator temperatures, walk-in cooler temperatures, the room temperatures, because all your equipments now, all sensitive equipments are there. Those sensitive equipment, the filter systems of the equipment, they are temperature dependent. So the temperature comes up, your equipments are going to fail, your reagents are going to fail, your calibrated controls are very, very temperature sensitive. So monitoring temperature, monitoring humidity becomes very, very important. So that is covered in 5.2. 5.3 is basically divided into two sub-clauses, 3.1 and 3.2. 3.1 deals with equipments and 3.2 deals with reagents and consumables. Whatever equipments we get, there has to be a proper procedure of getting an equipment. What equipment I need? What are the specifications? Which equipments are available in the market? What is my need? Is the equipment able to satisfy my need? I want to do a chemistry. I have 100 workload, 100 tests or 100 patients a day. And if I buy a system which is going to produce 2,000 results per hour, it is of no use unless they are adding cost to it. So what exactly I need? Whether my testing, especially the all systems, whether, especially with respect to the immunoassays, immunoassay has a lot of difference as far as the test profiles are concerned. Some tests are available on one equipment, some tests are not available on one equipment. So you buy an equipment and let one to understand that, oh, I wanted to have this test, but now it is not available in this equipment. So for that one or two tests, we'll have to go some other equipment. So just see whether your equipment is fulfilled. Not only procuring equipment, maintaining the equipment, the daily, you can say the daily maintenances, weekly maintenances, monthly maintenances, the breakdowns, everything has to be properly recorded. It has to be available. Everything has to be done. So that everything is covered in equipment. Similarly, about reagents and consumables, you should maintain a proper reagent inventory. What are you require? Never like you should have. Oh no, today I don't have this reagent, or I have a reagent but calibrator is not there. But I have a reagent, calibrator control is not there, and that is when I am not able to run the test. It cannot happen like that. There has to be proper method. Whenever reagents come to you, do you test those reagents? Whether those reagents are working, those reagents, whatever has been delivered. So reagent acceptance testing, there has to be a criteria. Sorry. Whenever I get a new shipment of reagent, there has to be a criteria. Okay, this is the reagent. Has it come in the proper temperature conditions? Is there any leakage? Is there any soiling? Everything is intact, whether the work or the order given and order received is like. So everything has to be seen and documented. Then we come to pre-examination. So now your persons are competent, your temperature, humidity, everything is excellent. Your state, not even the state of the art. Your equipments are very well calibrated, functional. There are no issues. You have reagents which are going to function very well. Now, what you require is the patient sample. So, pre-examination process deals with all laboratory part of pre-examination, collecting the sample. So, how are you going to collect the sample? You should have a primary sample collection manual. The manual should describe the collections. How you collect a blood sample, venous blood sample, how you collect a urine sample, stool sample, semen sample, the cytoplasm, the histopathology sample, FNAC, your throat swab for COVID and other testing. So whatever different types of testing that you do, the lab may require different types of samples. How do you collect the samples? What are the sample acceptance criteria? What are the sample rejection criteria? What are you going to do if you're going to reject the sample? At this stage, only the patient has to know what is the turnaround time, in how many hours he's going to get the report, whether the test has been done by the laboratory, not done by the laboratory, whether it outsourced. Everything has to be documented in primary sample collection manual. Has to be. Apart from this, the staff who is doing the phlebotomy and the pre-examination area has to be very properly trained. They have been trained importantly for two things. Number one, what are they going to do in case of a needle stick injury? That is very, very important. And second thing, if there is a sample spillage, handling of spillage. So three things basically are asked in this particular area: needle stick injury, sample spillage, and the third is order of truth. 5.5, it deals with examination processes, so it is nothing but SOPs, and I think Avinash took a lecture on SOP, so I'm not going to get into details. However, each and every SOP has to be documented. 5.6 deals with ensuring quality of examination. How do you ensure quality of examination? So it's not that our machine has given me a report or something because I said it's good. No. We have two ways of. Number one, the day-to-day is your internal quality. And once in a month or once in 2 months, then external quality control. Since you had an entire session on external quality control, I'm not going to speak on this. Internal quality control, again, it's a big topic, but every one of you must be running the prices. What I could say is that you should have a proper mechanism, what control you should be able to check whether the test that you are going to do and the test method that you are going to do, whether the value is available in the diagnostic material. Say, give a simple example. Let's say, for example, LDH. LDH, it will come as lactate to pyruvate or pyruvate to lactate. And the QC result will be from one measure, say pyruvate to lactate. And you have a kit which is from lactate to pyruvate. That QC is usually scored. Or you have a reason for exokinase, you are doing GOT, POD for glucose. So again, those things are going to happen. So when you are choosing an IQC material, just see that you get a material which is going to fulfill your requirement. And more importantly, which is focused, previously all of us were following the manufacturer's mean and SG. Today, in NABL, there is no scope for manufacturer's mean and SG. Every lab has to derive its own mean and SG and CV, and you have to follow it. This is applicable to biochemistry, it's applicable to all those biochemistry, chemistry, serology, tumor markers. But this is not applicable for hematology for a simple reason that hematology controls, their short-lived controls, 15 days to 3 weeks is the lifespan. So you won't have enough time to calculate your mean and ST. But for all other tests, you'll have to go for your lab-defined mean and ST. Post-examination processes deals with what are you going to do, how are you going to, how long are you going to retain your samples? Are you going to immediately discard them? What are the storage criteria? Let's say NABL 112, it gives you what criteria it has, each sample has to be stored. So that deals with post-examination processes. It also deals with the biomedical waste because all these samples are eventually a biomedical waste. So how you follow the entire biomedical waste process will be is covered in 5.7. 5.8 is reporting of results. What are the various result attributes and how you report your results? 5.9 is release of report. Again, it's more at a consultant level, so I'm not going to that. And 5.10 laboratory information management. Today, software has become an integral part of any laboratory. Majority of them, you can't function without a good software. But whether the software is functioning properly, are you validated the software correctly? Say within the interfacing of the equipment with the external computer, whether the data is getting transferred correctly, or whether the data is getting altered, whether the data is getting deleted, all those things have to be verified. And that is all covered in the laboratory information management system. So in a nutshell, all this 4.1 to 4.50 and 5.1 to 5.10, 5.1 to 5.10, that's our day-to-day activity. And I hope you must have understood this. I just very superficially, one liner, two liners, trying to discuss what it is. You will have to go through each and every one of them in details to understand. The second document of importance is NABL 112 document. It's a and this document is for specific criteria for accreditation of medical laboratory. Very, very typically only for medical labs. And what does this document describe? This document again describes the same thing what has been given in ISO 15189, but it has given at certain places of ISO 15189, you may not have a clarity or you may not have what requirements are to. So NABL 112 is your national requirements of fulfilling ISO 15189. Wherever it is not defined, you have to follow completely ISO 15189. But say, for example, how many controls have to be run? That is not given in ISO 15189. So NABL has to, you have to have a 2-level controls in the morning, and then one control every 8 hours in a 24-hour learning lab. What type of ICAS participation I should have? So they have been what type of ICAS participation I should have. So things which are not been very clearly defined, or wherein NABL thought that for convenience of the laboratories, we need to clear certain points. Those points are cleared in 1.2. Like say, for example, the size of the laboratory. What is small size laboratory, medium size, large size, extra large, now mini and micro. So all these different sizes of laboratory are described in 1.2. There are certain department-specific requirements. Say quality control. How do you have a quality control in molecular testing? What should have particular testing in quality control in molecular testing or cytopathology, histopathology? Everything has been department-wise been described in NABL 1. And then it has an annexure which gives guidelines for scope preparation. All those who are working in NABL lab, preparing a scope is one time, but a very, very exhaustive activity. And many times, there are so many errors which happen while preparing the scope. So how to prepare the scope is been given in NABL 1.1 as guidelines for scope preparation. Not verification. How to verify the lot? How many samples you are going to take? Are you going to take samples for lot verification? Are you going to take controls for verification? How many samples, how many controls you have to take? What frequency you have to do it? Everything has been covered in NABL 1.1. Guidelines for order of draw is available everywhere, and so on. So, primarily these two documents, 15189 and NABL 2012 and NABL 1.2. Apart from that, there are other important NABL documents which you will require, which NABL 100 is a general information brochure. Whatever history which I spoke today is from the NABL 100. So it is what is the history of NABL, what are the functions of NABL, activities, how it is integrated with international activities, what are the fee structures for accreditation of various laboratories. So everything has been, how to register for your laboratory, everything has been given. General information brochure, which is very, very important module book, is NABL 100. And then there are certain other documents like how to carry out an audit, policy for proficiency testing, NABL assessment from NABL 217. There are many more. I will not go into details. These are the ones which you require after you get an accreditation. Once you get an accreditation, what are terms and conditions of maintaining accreditation? It's not that once you are given, you are scot-free. NABL can catch you anytime and they say, okay, you are not maintaining your accreditation requirement. So everything has been given in 131. 133 is use of NABL symbols. Very, very tricky thing, use of NABL symbol. So what are the guidelines for use of NABL symbol? So all these things are in these documents. Details you can go on to NABL website, and especially if you see the publications over here. If you go on to the publications, if you click on this, then you will get a drop-down menu, and therein you will get NABL documents. And if you click on NABL documents, all the documents will be easily available. Apart from this document, many times simply reading doesn't help. Otherwise, schools and colleges would not have existed, right? But going by the attendance of the student these days, I think it is going on, moving on to self-learning. So it basically requires training. Training is an integral part. If somebody tells me, describes me what an 15189 is, what is the essence of each and every sentence, then I understand it much, much better. So training is important. So what are the trainings available? Is the internal auditors training course. It's a 3 days training course, which is conducted by many different agencies, all private agencies. NABL doesn't conduct any internal auditor training course. So this is being conducted, and this gives you complete. They will discuss clause 4 on one day, clause 5 on one day, and other things on the third. So this is such an extensive training which every clause word by word is discussed and explained. So if you undergo this training and then you start reading those things, you understand it much, much better. And if somebody is good in managing doing these things and has to get into a position of quality manager, every NABL accredited lab, the quality manager has to have undergone a training in internal auditors training course. Who is authorized to train? That is many people used to ask me. Because earlier it was a domain of few people, and it was being spread that only we are authorized by NABL to train. No, that's absolutely fake. Anybody who has been trained into quality management system, anybody who has undergone internal auditor training course and has had a good experience, anybody who is an NABL assessor, technical lead, or working under NABL technical committee who has been trained into this, a person or a group of persons can come together. They can take help of certain expertise who are not been trained by ISO, but say, for example, primary sample collection, or what are the safety requirements if you want to speak. And if you have brought in a microbiologist who deals with lab safety, then that is permissible for 1 or 2 lectures. Otherwise, anybody and everybody who is trained into this can train other persons, but there has to be a full 3 days actual training as per the protocol given by NABL. Now, coming to preparation of documents and reports. This is one thing. How do I prepare? So, try to understand the difference between these terminology, what we mean by a document and what we mean by a report. Any written, printed, or electronic matter that provides information is a document. A textbook is a document. Your laboratory quality manual is a document. Your standard operating procedure is a document. Quality system procedure is a document. If you are doing a procedure for monitoring room temperature, temperature, that would be a procedure for procedure for environmental conditions. That will be a document. Right? You have a document. Right. Now, from this document, you have to maintain environmental conditions. What are you're going to take room temperature, room humidity, and temperatures of various refrigerators, the freezer compartment, the lower compartment, right? So you'll have to document it somewhere. How will you document it? You usually try to prepare a form. So there are 2 terms in the form or format. Form is something which is a very, very structured form. Where it was prepared the form, when it was prepared morning, every information is given on that form. And you start recording the data. Once you fill that form, what it generates? It generates a record. So document is a matter which provides information, but record is a record of activities from one point to the next. Your patient record is a record. Your rejected sample record is a record. But your quality manual, QSP manual, your flow charts, all your textbooks all become documents. Your ISO document, any one put these are all documents. So any written, printed, or given matter that provides information is a document. It may vary based on changes in versions and time. So these are various policy statements, instruction for use, flow charts, procedures, specifications, forms, notices, plans, agreements, and so on and so on. On the other hand, record contains information from a particular point in time, stated results achieved, or evidence of activities performed. So, staff training and competency record. But procedure for staff training is a document. Test request form is a only TRF. Now here also, only TRF or only form will become a document. But once you figure it, it becomes a record. So these are the instrument maintenance record, examination results, accident records, risk management records, and so on. What is the level of documentation has to be? And with my experience, if somebody is really interested or somebody has been assigned a job of preparing the lab documents, how do you move? First, you prepare your quality. We say that this is the apex document of the lab. But the quality manual discusses only or describe only the policies of the laboratory. It doesn't go into details of what. Only a policy. Say, for example, lab will carry out inter-lab comparison for 2 samples every 6 months. That has been a policy which has been described in the quality manual. How it is to be taken in detail will come in the SOP or TS. So quality manual has to be prepared. After that quality manual, there has to be procedures have to be prepared. So there is something called as quality system procedures and standard of SOP, standard operating procedures. Until today, I have confusion in these two words. What is quality system procedures? What is standard operating procedure? Because if you see, there is a very, very thin line between this. The way I interpret it, any technical thing, any process, I put it as standard operating procedure. Estimation of blood glucose, estimation of CBC, estimation of second analysis, all this is the standard operating. Equipment, starting the mention of the equipment maintenance, I all put in a standard operating. But say for example, if I want to do risk assessment, and I put it as it's going to enhance my quality system, so I put it as quality system procedure. Procedure for quality indicators, it will be a quality system. Not verification will be a quality system procedure or SOP. Then it's up to your choice. So there is a thin line, but categorize in such a way that the processes, all technical processes, you turn them into the SOPs, remaining process you can put them in QSP. There is something called as format and form. Form I just described. Form is a very, very clear cut, everything has been documented. Format is what? Say for example, you are monitoring your daily uses in your notebook. So what do you write? You write all the names of the test on the top, you write the date on the axis, and then you note down the values for QC1 and QC2. So what you actually have, you have a format. This is the format that on the x-axis you are going to write all your tests, on your y-axis with the date, and in front of date you will be creating your record. So format is nothing but it is only this is the structure in which your data will be recorded. And the last one, when you fill up the forms and formats, it automatically becomes as reports. I'll give you a simple example. Say, for example, how do you prepare a quality manual? A quality manual is nothing but reproducing the ISO document as per your lab requirements. Absolutely, you're just copying the ISO 15189 clause 4 and clause 5 and putting it as your quality manual. But here you're going to be giving a touch what you are actually going to do. So I'll give you an example. Say 5.2.6. The clause reads, the lab shall monitor, control, and record environmental conditions as required by relevant specifications or where they may influence the quality of sample result and or health of the staff. So in a nutshell, all environmental conditions have to be recorded. What I'll write in quality manual? The laboratory monitors, controls, and records the environmental conditions. I'm going to write this. So this is my this is the clause. This is my policy now, which I'm putting the quality manual. Now to do this, what I will require? To monitor, control, and record environmental conditions, what I will require? Entrance to humidity launch. I have written in the policy, I'm going to do this. So I have a procedure for doing this. So either I prepare a quality system procedure or SOP, QSP or SOP for monitoring and recording environmental conditions. So I'll prepare a detailed SOP. Who is authorized to do it, who is taking at what time, whether it's done once or twice a day, what all temperatures are to be taken, which thermometers are to be used, what is the calibration frequency of those thermometers, everything in detail I write it. After I write it down, I'll also write how I'm going to record my data. So what I'm going to generate for this QSP SOP, I'll have to create a form or create a format. Say for example, daily temperature. I don't want to create a form, I just create a format. It has to create a date, morning 9 AM, evening 9 PM. And then I just go on writing this. That is a format. Or I prepare a complete format wherein I write this and then I write acceptance criteria and all those things. So I did a form work. So I'm starting with ISO clause. The same clause I'm putting in my quality manual as my policy. And in the policy, when I put it as a policy, I prepare the procedure for that policy, for implementation of that policy, and then also prepare a form or format to record down the activities that are described in the list. So in the end, what I basically do is my entire system from quality manual to QSP or SOP to format to records gets generated those ways. Very, very simple way and very easy way, you will not miss it. And it is always better Rather than approaching a consultant, you create your own documentation because it has to be the reflection of what you actually do. Otherwise, consultant will copy paste what they have described, and your process will be altogether different. Say, for example, measurement of temperature. If you say that my housekeeping staff is trained for it, and my temperature will be done by housekeeping staff, and the consultant will say it will be done by a technologist. So when they will see the signature, it is of the housekeeping staff, it is the not technology signature. So it's always better that you document your own procedures. So you have documented your procedures, you understood ISO 15189-2012, NABL 112, your documents are done. So if you want to go for NABL accreditation, what are the minimum requirements before we actually apply for NABL accreditation? So all documents and records has to be in place. All equipments need to be calibrated as per NABL 112 guidelines. All tests which are put into the scope of accreditation should be covered in proficiency testing or at least an internal comparison. The lab should have undergone at least one internal audit, and the NCs raised in internal audit must be resolved. And there has to be one management review meeting which has addressed all this. So if you have all this in place, then the lab is ready to go ahead for NABL accreditation. So the question is, all tests should be covered in ECAS. So what are the criteria for ECAS? I'm just saying because people have some confusion. My few tests are in ECAS, not in ECAS. ECAS has failed. So ECAS requirement is at least one PT program. Somebody says 3 cycles you should, 3 months you should participate, 6 months. No, you have to participate at least in one PT program prior to getting accreditation in each discipline. One PT participation is good enough. It is expected that at least all major analytic parameters of the scope are covered, planned under PT participation. And say, for example, you have enrolled for ECAS, you've done your ECAS, you want to apply, but your ECAS is showing a J score of more than 2, outlier 1. Participation in PT program with J score less than 2 or value will be considered as satisfactory. Participation with J score more than or equal to 2 will also be acceptable if the lab has taken necessary corrective action based on the root cause. So even NABL knows process, no, things can go wrong. It is not a punishment, which is the things can go wrong, but even if things can, what is required when things go wrong? What is the procedure for you that has been implemented when things go wrong? What is the corrective action taken? Whether the corrective action is correct and whether it's properly documented, that is good enough. So how do you apply for NABL? Now everything is online. You just have to apply on NABL. WP stands for web portal. So you have to apply for NABL wp.pci.org. And then you have to register the lab. Once you get this page, and then you have a complete registration page where the basic information of the lab, the name, address, and contact person's details and all those things. After the registration, then it is up to you. Earlier, pre-assessment was compulsory. Before the actual assessment, one-day pre-assessment by the lead assessor who has been appointed. He used to come, visit the lab, understand everything, plan for NABL, how many assessors will be required, how many days audit has to be done, and all those things. But then there was people saying that it adds unnecessary cost on the lab. So the pre-assessment is now no more compulsory. But yeah, if you feel that you are quite new in this field, you need some guidance, so plan the pre-assessment. One day that expenditure is good enough, but that assessor will guide you completely so that you have a very smooth final assessment. So pre-assessment and then is the final assessment. This is the entire flow, how it flows. I will not go in detail about this. So accreditation procedure. And once it goes, this is what you get at the end, certificate of accreditation with the scope of accreditation, what all tests which are in the scope. So once you receive the accreditation, what does it mean? Lab meets all criteria as per ISO 15189-2012 standards, that is one. But please remember, accreditation is for the test under the scope of accreditation only. if a particular test is not under scope of accreditation, it cannot be reported on the same letterhead with the NABL silver. And again, it is location specific. Nowadays, we have multiple branches of one particular lab. Somebody showed that my Mumbai lab is accredited and I have 10 more labs. Your accreditation is location specific. Even if in Mumbai you have 10 different labs, and your one lab gets accredited, accreditation is specific only to. This is one more thing which many of us ask how to become an NABL assessor. So there's an advertisement for assessors on NABL website. And the training tab, you will get those things. Apply with biodata. Good lab experience is required. If selected, we have to undergo 5 days residential training followed by examination. First assignment is an observership, after which you are appointed as technical assessor. Adequate experience as technical assessor, you move on to lead assessor. And from lead assessor, you further move on to become a technical or expert committee member. So the entire journey is good for all those who want to venture into NABL as a NABL assessor. For any further details, this is the website of NABL, which is very, everything has been detailed. Whatever I spoke here, only there are a few things which came out of experience, but whatever documents, everything has been prepared from using this website only. I would like to introduce to one more website, that is Labs for Life. This is a Delhi-based NGO, and they prepare certain documentations, and they are also involved in enhancing lab quality span in India. And if you go visit their site, you get a lot of documents of quality manuals, SOPs, then sample collection manual. So all of the documents will get in the ready-made format. You just have to tune into your requirements. So all your pressures, so preparing a document, you would place them down. So that is one more good site. With this, I thank you for patient listening. Thank you, Anita Madam, and organizing team for inviting me here and giving me this opportunity. And yes, for holding such a beautiful certificate course, which covers almost end-to-end molecular laboratory for semester. So once again, thank you everyone. Thank you so much.